Hey, welcome back to Karen's Paper Craft. Thank you very much for watching. Happiness Abounds is such a beautiful stamp set and I keep getting ideas on how I can use it. Today I'm going to show you how you can make the pretty background with the dots and spots dies and how you can create the softest of colours with your cardstock using with what I call the vellum technique. And then I've die cut them with the blossoming happiness dies. There's no fussy cutting for this card, which is great. So I'm going to show you what supplies I have used for my card. Versamark ink and Evening Evergreen ink. I have used the Happiness Abounds stamp set with the matching blossoming happiness dies and then the dots and spots die. You need cardstock, thick basic white, 11 inches by 4 1/8. Those who work newer size can leave it at 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2 down the middle, and you need a piece of basic white, the ordinary variety of 5 by 6 inches to do the die cutting for the dots and spots die. Then you need loads of pieces of cardstock for the roses, and I've made them before, you see, and I'm going to show you in the video how I do this very soft colouring with the vellum technique. I'm going to show you how to make the die cuts and everything. This is a piece of basic white, the thick variety, because this is what I've cut off from the A4 cardstock. This is just a way of using this strip for the sentiment, and this is, let me think, this is 4 1/8 by 3/4 of an inch. It's slightly under 3/4 of an inch, but 3/4 of an inch would work equally well. And I have a scrap piece of cardstock that I'm going to glue underneath. I don't have a die here, but you've seen me do that in my videos with dies that I die cut twice to give this more sturdiness, and even if you don't have a die, you can stick another piece of cardstock under to give it that extra strength. Right then, I'll start with showing you how to make the dots and spots background and to cut the strips. And I've taken a piece of cardstock which is a bit larger on purpose because I want to be able to get it on straight. That helps you with the cutting of the strips. So I wanted to be able to stick it down, and that's why I needed the two edges on the sides. I tried it with cutting the cardstock in the same size, and then I could put the tape on both sides, but then you'd be cutting into the tape as well. So I thought I'll just cut just a bit larger and then die cut it. And a tip for you, don't put it in your die cut machine straight, but put it at an angle, then it's much easier to roll it through. I'll go and do that, and when I've finished that I'll be back. You can't get much of an angle because it's a large die, and you can see that all my bits are already falling out and they're very static, so I wanted to move this to my desk so that I don't end up with all these little dots on the floor. Now these make great confetti, so I carefully wipe them off. And you can see that the die cut itself, they've automatically fallen out. Occasionally there's one sticking there. And here too, some may stay in the die, and then it's easy enough to remove them using your brush tip. And as I said, they make great confetti. I'll show you. I have this little tin and colours that I think are nice together. I just keep my dots for another project. Don't know yet what, but I will be using them. You could also bin them, of course. So that's the background, and we have to do some cutting now. I'll show you that in a minute. So let me get my trimmer out. And because the paper was a bit larger, there's a very vague indentation there, which is no problem because I'm going to cut this off anyway. Now what I've noticed is that when you move your dots along your trimmer, there is a point where you see the groove. Now, if you move it to the left, and when the groove is just out of sight, if you make your cut line there, it's perfect, you see? Then I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3, because I want 3 of these dots on my strip. So I move to the 4th, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I move to the 4th, and then again I move back and cut. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move back and cut. Then you end up with 4 of these strips. You have to shorten them again. So I'm cutting off 1. So I'm going to the 2nd row of dots and cut. And here now I'm moving to the 4-inch mark, 10.1 centimeters, and then look for, it's just slightly under 4 inches. Cut off that, and you repeat that with all the strips. That leaves you with 4 equal strips, and I just realised I only had to cut 3. Oh well. So I may use this on a different card later. Now then, I'm going to adhere these together using my tear and tape, and you look for the edge which has a single dot or a double dot, doesn't really matter. I'm taking the double dots as my top now so that they work out equally. Then I'm flipping them over, and you want the one on the left to be the highest to start with, and then you match this one up. It's about 1/2 inch, slightly over, and this one too, about 1/2 inch, so that you align these dots. Do you see? These are on the same length now, and then you take tiny bits of tear and tape and adhere those strips together. So that when you flip them over on to the card base, the one on the right comes up highest. I'll adhere these and then I'll continue with the flowers, and I'm using my liquid glue for that, so just a few dots here and there. So you get this very, very subtle background. And it's easier to stick them together first and then stick them all together onto your card base instead of trying it one by one. I tried and, well, it ended up all wobbly. So then I thought of how can I make this easier on myself, and that's why I decided to stick them together first. So I'll show you to make the flowers now. Now these pretty flowers, and they have a really soft look, and I created that by using what I call the vellum technique. And for that you just take your cardstock and a piece of vellum, and then you adhere these together after stamping, and then you can die cut them, and then you end up with a soft colour. So first of all, I'm going to show you that on your cardstock, one end you put the adhesive sheet, and I've done it here so you can to show you, and then you're going to stamp on a piece of vellum, and you're going to stick that over the sticky side later. And I've made the vellum slightly larger than the cardstock. It's easier and less messy, and I'm not going to give you all the sizes of the cardstock and the vellum here. All the information you need is on my blog, because, well, it would be just too difficult to get centimeters in and inches as well. So I'm just going to show you, and all the sizes are on my blog. First I'm going to show you how to adhere the vellum. No, not yet the vellum. the cardstock to the adhesive sheet, and I need my adhesive sheet for that. And these bits are too small, so I'm taking a new sheet. Oh, and if you want to find out how I made this box with a tray, I'll put a link to a video on the box at the end of this video. So I'm taking a piece of plastic as well. It means that I don't mess up my grid paper too much. So some plastic sheeting, and then first I decided to do it like this, cut first, so you can see through, and I'm putting it just within the edge, and then I just cut around that. And then I can remove and here too, just that bit. So this is ready, the same as my flirty flamingo. This is soft sea foam. Now I'm going to do the stamping, and as you could see, I've done most of the flowers before because, well, I wanted to save some time while filming. The leaves I'm going to stamp in Evening Evergreen. Oh, lost it there. And I'm going to use the clear emboss powder for that. And I'm going to stamp the rose and all the other roses I did in Versamark, and then I use the white emboss powder for that. I'll heat set that, and then I'll do the die cutting. So first let me do the stamping. And with the Evening Evergreen, if you work quickly, there's no problem with the wetness, because the ink stays wet on the vellum anyway. Then I'm going to show you how you can attach this to the vellum. And I'll put this one over here for a minute. I just take away and I use the backing paper to hold down my sticky paper. And then you can pull it out, and I'm using my bone folder. I give it a good rub so that the colour of the cardstock really shines through the rose. Do you see? I'll repeat with my little leaves. Just a tiny bit more stamping to do. The Happy Birthday from the same stamp set. It has beautiful fonts. Let me show you the stamp set again. Oh well, I've put stickers over that. I really love the fonts in this stamp set, and I think it's versatile. So I'm stamping this on my strip of scrap strip, really. Trying to get it on as straight as I can, which is easy to do when you have a photopolymer stamp set. That looks great, I think. I'll just clean off my stamp later. Okay, then I'm going to assemble the card, and I'm using a combination of tear and tape and dimensionals, and the tear and tape is because I've run out of mini dimensionals. Normally I would use those, and I'm waiting to order them, but I would I thought it would be a bit too expensive just to order some mini glue dots. So I'll put an order in with my next order. And I've had to become really creative now with how I can attach things. I mean, the tear and tape works fine, no problem there. But it's just that the mini glue dots are so handy. So I'm putting a strip of tear and tape on this as well. And I'm going to attach it, if I can find my piercing tool now. Oh, it's easier to do at this end. I'm just putting this strip over and I can trim it. And I'll attach this with some tear and tape as well, for lack of mini glue dots. And I did think about, could I use the adhesive sheet for that, but well, I didn't want to, because tear and tape then is handier, I suppose. Well then, my flowers. I'll start with the one on the right, and as I promised you, we're going to have dimensionals and tear and tape. Then the large rose goes over that, so they overlap a little. Then the sweet sorbet rose, again slightly overlapping, and the dog rose. At least I think it looks like a dog rose. It doesn't look like a poppy to me. I think they're all roses. And then I'm going to tuck all these little leaves under. And I'm having a combination of, I'll show you, of the, I don't know if you can see from the top, I have a combination of these two. So I go around using those. So I'll just tuck them under. That's easy to do because of the dimensionals. Now if you like my project, please click the like button. It helps me to grow my channel. And if you have a question or a comment, please leave it, because I love to hear from you. I really do. It's always nice to know what people like about your videos. Not dislike so much, frankly, but it's okay. And just two more. And don't forget about the bonus video that I have for you in a minute. I'm nearly finished. I'll start with this one first. So there, and oh, hang on, I want that stem to go over, that's better. And then this one as well. Oh, that looks great. Then the happy birthday, and I'm going to tuck that under the leaves. Rightio, that's this card finished. Now while I was designing this card, I played around first with the colours, and I thought that perhaps to have strips of the dots in this colour as a background would be nice, but it wasn't. Then I decided to change it into white and had these strips left, and I got a snarky remark. Someone said, well, you waste an awful lot of paper designing cards. And I said, well, not really, because I'm going to use those scraps. He said, yeah, well, you need a lot of expensive extras. I said, no, not really. So a challenge was born. I said, I'm not going to use a stamp, just these scraps, more scraps, and then a punch. So I've used the medium daisy punch and the, this is Melon Mambo, by the way, the 1/2 inch circle punch, which is no longer available, but I still have it and I'll never get rid of it. So this is a card, and if I'm honest, I think I like this one better than that one, but never mind that. Well, thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.